Órale, Total Trucker Moss movies and shows, and here we got Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1, that is. So I went ahead and I went in the morning. I think it was a 10:20 a.m. showing. Nice matinee show, not a lot of people there. Really enjoyed myself. I would recommend it. I would recommend going to the movies early. I never do that. I never do that, but I really enjoyed it. Now, the reason why I went that early is because this sucker is just a little over 3 hours long. And I was going to be busy throughout the day where I didn't have 3 hours to go check it out. But let me go ahead and let me get to it. Now, there is a lot going on in this movie. Good gosh, there's a lot going on in this movie. It is very difficult to be engaged with any of the characters in the movie, okay? Because there's so many stories in different parts of the country going on, and you're trying to keep up with all the stories. I'm assuming eventually they're all gonna circle around and meet each other at some point. It definitely leaves you in a cliffhanger, obviously, because chapter 2 comes out in August. But um, well, first, let me go ahead and say this. Kevin Costner, you do not see Kevin Costner till about after an hour of the movie. Um, and at that, he actually does not get a lot of screen time. Yes, he's definitely one of the characters in the movie, but as of right now with chapter 1, I'm not so sure if I would label him the main character. Not a lot of screen time, and we don't see him till, like I said, I'm just estimating here. I think it was a little over an hour of the movie before we got to actually see Kevin Costner. And this is how you see him right here, exactly what you see on the screen. That's the first time you ever see him. And that's, oh, goodness, I would say 65, 70 minutes into the movie already. A lot has already taken place. So there is a river. Um, there is a river, and you don't really know what's going on as soon as the movie starts. You got this guy, he's out there. It looks like he's doing some scientific stuff. Again, this is the 1800s, right? So there's really no technology like that out there, but he's out there with sticks and some line, and it looks like he's trying to measure things out. And you see Native Americans come in and say, like, hey, Charles, we don't like these people being here. So that is basically what happens. Now, a whole village gets built there. The Native Americans are not down with it, and they do what they believe is right. However, there is some insubordination with the Native Americans within, right? It's like the high chief is like, whoa, wait a second, what's going on here? This isn't what I want. And then you got another younger guy who's up and strong. I don't want to ruin it too much for you guys, but you got him who's all like, no, this is what we need to do. We need to do it this way, not your way. Old man, somebody young needs to take over. So there's a little bit of that going on. As far as for the people that are there in that village, that the army comes down and they're like, hey, you know what? We should go hunting. There's money to be made for the scalp of, again, finger quotes, Indians, right? So I'll tell you guys this, man. Okay, so I believe that's the main part of the movie, or the main story of the movie. However, there's other stories of the movie. There's a story where there's a woman with a baby who took off, from her husband, kills her husband, and the family of that husband, well, they're actually a somebody. It's not like that dude really didn't have family that weren't really outlaws or down with the business. So they're out hunting her. So there's a whole story in that. And she goes and she makes a life somewhere else. There's a whole story of that family tracking her down. Then there's another story with a mother and a daughter, right? That are survivors from a huge attack. There's so many stories going on. Luke Wilson's character, I actually liked him. I actually, out of all the characters thus far, Luke Wilson's character, I really enjoy his character. You know, they are, I mean, there's a whole journey for them. I forgot where they're coming from. I think Kansas, maybe it may be, and they're journeying just west. And that's what this is all about, right? People heading west. All right. There's parts of the movie that's from Montana, then it goes Wyoming, you got Kansas, you got all this. There's so much going on. There is so much going on. But the main part is that they are heading west, and there is land there where the river's at, and the Native Americans, they're not down with it. And there's this paper that keeps floating around that says horizon, horizon, right? And look, it's a good story. It's pretty dry. I will tell you guys that it is pretty dry. At some point, you do kind of get a little bit tired and annoyed with some of the characters, you know, like Homegirl that's trying to seduce Kevin Costner. It's like, I mean, come on, man. I don't know. This is getting kind of dumb for me. Is it a great movie? Again, I'm just talking about chapter one, but is it a great movie? Um, I would say it's a great story, but not a great movie. It does get very dry. Some scenes get very long, and it's like, okay, this scene doesn't need to be this long. All right, I get the point. Get this scene over with. Let's get to the next scene. But some scenes are a little too long. And just to make it clear, this movie is just a tad over 3 hours long. So make sure you empty the bladder before you sit down and watch this movie or go into a theater, which I did. Overall, look, it's a good watch. Do you need to go to the movie theaters to watch it? I'll be real with you guys. No, you don't. Am I going to go to the movie theaters to watch chapter two? I plan on it. I plan on it, but I'm gonna tell you guys this. I do plan on going to watch chapter two in the movie theaters, but I'm not gonna mark it down on my calendar where I have to go watch it in theaters. If I watch chapter two at in the comfort of my home, so be it. Uh, it the way chapter one ends is with basically just showing you a trailer, a pretty long trailer, I may add, of what to expect in chapter two. And it doesn't really leave you like with a huge cliffhanger where you're like, oh man, I want more. At least not for me, it didn't. Oh man, I want more, I want more. But it is, I am interested on how all these characters from different parts of the country that are heading west on when they meet up, how they meet up, and what happens. But look, all the whole story together, yes, it's interesting, but the movie is a little dry. It does get a little bit stale in places here and there. All in all, I recommend it, but you don't have to go to theater to watch it. But if you do, hey, it's not a waste of money. That is Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1. Cholo Trucker, M.A.S. Movies and Shows. Catch you guys on next one.